An update on Trump's election interference case. The Georgia Court of Appeals will now consider Trump's appeal challenging a decision from March to not disqualify Fani Willis from overseeing the case. Willis was accused of misconduct from allegedly benefiting from her relationship with the special prosecutor. Trump has 10 days to file. That would trigger a process that could likely push a trial past the November election. So joining me this morning with how this decision impacts is 9 News legal expert Whitney Traylor. Whitney, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
First of all, a lot of people were seeing this news yesterday. How significant is it that the Court of Appeals will hear this case against Willis?
Yeah, it's significant. I don't know if it's as significant as some people may think, because what we're talking about here is the Georgia Court of Appeals, which you generally have a right to. What's different about this is this was an appeal during the case, so the case is still going on. Normally with an appeal, you have to have a final judgment. So here, there's obviously been no final judgment or no trial. So it's essentially an interlocutory appeal. So they got permission, they filed the appeal, and the Court of Appeals said, yes, we're going to hear it. So it's significant in that the court is going to determine, hey, was there a conflict of interest? Was there prosecutorial misconduct, or was it not?
Regardless of how the court rules, what are the potential appeals that either side could make in this case?
Right. So if the court says, yes, this was misconduct, then they could actually remove Fani Willis from the case and appoint another prosecutor. That prosecutor, and why that's significant, is because that prosecutor may choose to change the charges, drop the charges, be even more aggressive. So it's a question. Now, depending on how the Court of Appeals rules, either side can appeal to the Georgia Supreme Court, but the Supreme Court doesn't have to take the case, and I'm not sure that they would. So that's down the line, though. First, they have to file the appeal, I think, within 10 days. And then I think the Court of Appeals will rule quickly, but that's another issue, is how that will affect the actual trial date.
Now, paint us a roadmap here, Whitney. What are the possible outcomes of this investigation?
Yeah, well, there's the appeal, and then the Georgia Senate is actually starting an investigation, too, into Fani Willis to determine if there was a misuse of taxpayer money, because the allegation is that she appointed Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, and then they were having this personal romantic relationship, and he was taking her on trips, and so the question was the taxpayer money being used improperly? The trial court judge said that there may have been an appearance of impropriety, but that was not a conflict of interest. I think the Court of Appeals is actually going to agree and affirm that no, it wasn't a conflict of interest, but possibly just the appearance of impropriety.
And really quickly, I want to squeeze in on the issue of presidential immunity. We're expecting to hear a ruling on that any day. Yeah. If that is actually the case, how would that affect this investigation?
Well, the presidential immunity, if the Supreme Court says that there is presidential immunity, then that could potentially impact the federal claims, because those are dealing with the federal criminal charges. These are state claims, so I don't know how that will impact it, but the real issue is the timing, because if this appeal and this process delays the trial until after November, and if Donald Trump wins the election, that will give him so much more leverage as to deal with the case as president. So it's going to be, I think the timing issue is going to be more substantial, and it depends on how quickly the Court of Appeals rules on this. If they keep her on the case, then can they get to trial before November? A lot of people are saying no, and I probably agree with that. I'm not sure they'll be able to get it done before November.
Well, we know that you'll be keeping a close eye on this case, as will we, and of course, with any updates, we'll make sure we bring that to you at home. Whitney, thank you.